This video is brought to you by Movement for Life Physical Therapy. USA Grappling Team Trials Women's 64 kg Division. This is my first match. As you can see, we're already starting to tie up and hand fight. We are both looking for good positioning and good head positioning, good hand positioning, and trying to fight for takedowns from here. A quick reminder that if you are able to push your opponent to that outer white line, if you're able to get them to step outside that, then you are awarded a push-out point, hence why we both keep trying to circle towards the middle. We are tied up here. I'm looking to try to duck under and get to the back, but as I start to go around, she's able to get her hips underneath me and go for a hip toss. You can't really see it here that well because we went out of frame of the camera, but I actually whacked my head pretty hard on the mat when we landed, and so I was definitely a little bit dazed for probably a solid 30 seconds here at least. I remember in the match going through concussion protocol in my head of trying to think about where I was, what I was doing, making sure I wasn't seeing blurry or anything, and I was fine. It just was one of those, I wasn't expecting it, and I was just a little bit stunned. You can see here I've got my half guard. I'm trying to dig for my lockdown, but again, I'm still not thinking super clearly here, and so I'm kind of just trying to survive while I try to get my bearing back. She's doing a good job trying to pressure in and get her hips up so that she can try to pass to full mount. She does a really good job being able to get that knee through and is now in 3/4 mount, and then starts to pull that foot through and lands in full mount. I'm definitely still pretty dazed here, but I had enough common sense to keep my elbows tucked in and try to move my hips around a little bit so that she wasn't able to stay here super settled. You can see here she's trying to reach back and start to attack from my elbows. At this point she's trying to go for like a mounted triangle, but I'm doing a good job of keeping my frames in so that she's not able to attack for that mounted triangle. I'm starting to get my bearing back a little bit, and so I start trying to bridge out, but she does a really good job of maintaining that top pressure and reestablishes her positioning on top. I'm starting to get my bearing back though, and here in just a second I hear one of the people on the sidelines yell to me that she gets off balanced too far to her left side, and I'm able to bridge and escape, and from here I'm able to drive her out of the circle and get a push-out point. At this point in the match, I know that I am down 6-1. She got 2 points for the takedown and 4 points for mount, whereas I got 1 point for the push-out. So if I'm going to win this match, I have to be very aggressive and am immediately looking for the takedown. I start tying up with her, hand fighting, digging for underhooks, looking for snap downs, anything that I can do to initiate a takedown, get the fight to the ground, and start making up some of those lost points. We are continuing to hand fight and fight for good hand positioning and head positioning while still being mindful of that outer white line. Neither one of us wants to step outside of it and give up push-out points. We're starting to tie up here. I'm starting to feel out how she's distributing her weight. She tries to go for a little inside trip, but I defend. I can feel that she's leaning forward into me really heavily, and I use that to my advantage to hit one of my favorite little throws, a little frontward trip, throwing her forward and securing 2 points. From here, I'm immediately trying to start to heavy pressure pass and go around the guard. I know I don't have a lot of time, and I need to get this pass in order to win. She goes belly down, however, to defend, so I start to circle around, and I get my hook in, throw my opposite hook in, and I take her back and secure 4 points. The score is now 7-1 my favor, but I have to be super mindful of both not letting her turn back into my guard and let her get reversal points, as well as making sure that I'm staying active enough on her back that they don't call me for stalling. They are very quick to call stalling deductions under this rule set, but as long as I have my arm under her chin and am trying to actively go for the choke, they can't call me for stalling. I was awarded 1 point for the choke, attempt as well, meaning that the time ran out and I was able to secure a narrow lead with an 8-6 point victory. Was definitely a little bit closer than I would have liked, but I was very grateful to have secured my first win and was on my way to the finals. This here is my friend Ashley from last year. She's teeny tiny, but she managed to pick me up because she was excited, and I was being congratulated by some of the other team members from last year who were trying out for the team again. And you can see me walk off the mat with my coach, Nick, and get prepared for the next match. Alright, match number 2. I knew going into this match that she was going to be hunting for the back because that is what she had done at the qualifying rounds as well as in her first match of this tournament. Here we are starting to tie up. I'm doing my best to create distance as she tries to rush in. I'm trying to keep my elbows tucked in so that she can't go for duck unders. There you can see she's starting to go for them. But while I'm trying to prevent the duck unders, my posture got too low and she was able to snap me down. She does a really good job of getting her hooks in and starts to wrap up the rear naked choke. I'm attempting to defend that choke while also trying to slide over that bottom hook, but she's doing a really good job of keeping her hips behind my hips as I continue to try to walk around, but she stays nice and tight, and she gets the rear naked choke. Obviously, in the moment, I was pretty disappointed because I wanted to win. However, the goal of this competition was for me to get back on the American team, which I accomplished because the first place person and the second place person gets to go. So now I am on my way to Warsaw, Poland to compete on behalf of Team USA in the UWW Submission Grappling World Championships. And make sure you subscribe so you can see those matches as well.